river was higher than it had ever been reported at that first section.
No way.
These parts that were going to be class 4, which I had trained for, turned into class 5, which I was not prepared for. The kayak goes and I flip. And all of my training for rotating under the water, there's 3 things you can do when the kayak flips. 1, you roll, which I had trained many months for. 2, you abort. Or 3, you drown. And fishermen are yelling like, stop, what are you doing? Tiburones, tiburones. Like, sharks are here, sharks are here. Like,
today we're bringing back Matt Cacioppo. Last time he was here, he was about to attempt something crazy, kayaking the entire Magdalena River in Colombia. Now he's back after 29 days, nearly 2,000 kilometers, record level water, red zones, whirlpools, sharks at the finish line, and multiple moments where it could have ended badly. This isn't a highlight reel. This is what it actually costs to push yourself that far, physically and mentally. Matt, welcome back. All right, guys, welcome back. We have Matt Cacioppo here, alive. Not eaten by Pablo Escobar's hippos, thank God. So it's him in the flesh. And this is after some of you have seen in the one-on-one interview with Matt. He was going to do the record for the Magdalena River, and he has since completed it. So Matt, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Nemo. Good to be back here.
Dude, I was so excited for you, and I was so happy that you were alive. Man, like let's just jump into it, dude. How was it? What happened?
It was challenging. It was more challenging than I expected. The country of Colombia is the wettest country in the world, and because of that, you got to plan these kind of trips around the seasons. And when I arrived to dry season in Huila, which is a departamento in the south of Colombia, it was raining. And the forecast said it would be raining for the next couple of weeks. And we talked to locals, and it hadn't stopped raining in 5 months. So plans changed pretty quick. Right off the rip, we were kind of off the tracks of having like a clean, successful kayak adventure the entire time. And yeah, a lot of adjustments had to be made from day one. And the river was higher than it had ever been reported at that first section.
No way.
These parts that were going to be class 4, which I had trained for, turned into class 5, which I was not prepared for. And the camera crew I was with, and I'll share the footage with everyone. The camera crew I was with were being paid by the day, so it was like, we got to figure something out and just go for it.
Oh my God.
We're there. We're already there.
Oh my God. So, okay. So you did the training. Now, how long? So you never rafted before?
Yeah. So it was actually in a kayak, and
Okay.
I had no kayaking experience when I started the training back in February. And then I did a pretty intensive 3-month training course in a town about 2 hours from here called Corcona.
Yeah.
And there I got comfortable with class 3 and some class 4. And then it was July. It was the start of the trip. And not only, there was actually 2 elements that were surprises when we got there. One was the rain. And the second, I can't really go too into it because it's going to maybe get some people in trouble that helped me out on the trip. But the second was the paramilitary and guerrillas in that area had kind of taken over. So we had to get certain permissions to be able to do that. Maybe I've even said too much by mentioning that.
Well, that is a real aspect of Colombia. I mean, a lot of the major cities, Bogota, Medellin, these are exactly what you expect in most cities. But as soon as you go out, there are still some active conflicts that are happening. So that's something to keep in mind. I myself was stuck in a indigenous protest twice. The second time for like 12 hours, going out to Urabá and Turbo, out to the sea.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And that was very interesting. And, you're just stuck there. You don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe they might protest a little bit harder
Yeah.
and try to make examples of people or things. Typically, what we saw in the past, from what I've heard, is that they would target trucks
Mm-hmm.
and they would take the supplies from the truck and then burn the truck, prove their point, and then try to negotiate with the government. So when we were here, we had to basically wait 12 hours until they reached the deal with the government, and then we were able to be,
Wow.
let through. So
Wow. A lot of people don't, especially foreigners that come and travel to Colombia, they are in these bubbles of Bogota and Medellin, and
Yeah.
they don't ever realize how drastically different it is in a place. Turbo is not a small town, but in places on the coast especially, it's just a different world. Turbo was one of the first towns I came to in Colombia, arriving in kayak in Carpugana and then going to Turbo. And I remember like looking around, this was one of my first impressions of a town, a city in Colombia, and there was more horses than cars.
yes.
And motorcycles were the dominant form of transportation. But I remember seeing quite a few horses going down the road and not very many cars. And I was in the bicycle and I'm like, what world have I entered here? This is South America. How bizarre this place is. And then since traveling to Choco and being on that side of the coast, I think Turbo is part of Antioquia, but
Yes.
it's right on the border of Choco, which goes along the Pacific. And there, it's like power is quite the luxury. And most of these resorts, they're just run by generators.
Yeah. And this is something that even like, I mean, look, you go to like Burning Man Festival, right? Like, what do you really have there, right? So even places in US, they have, limited infrastructure, and that may be because US is huge. Well, actually, Colombia is a huge country as well. And the mountains that separate people, it makes it incredibly difficult to actually build and to even view. And up until like 100 years ago, people never really traveled outside of their little valley in the mountain. So that's why you have so many different kinds of people, because they were just breeding within that region. And then you go to like Bogota, then you go to the coast, you go to Medellin, you go to Cali, everybody looks different as if it's a different country.
Yeah.
So super, super interesting. Now, when you were looking to start, obviously you had the rain issue, which was not expected. It's supposed to be the dry season. For whatever reason, it was not dry.
Not dry.
You made that call to do it anyway. And you set off, right?
Yeah.
Now, I remember you spent a little bit of time there hanging out with the locals. Was that when you were eating the what was it? The cuckoo?
Yeah, it's like the equivalent to a hamster. Yeah,
Okay.
so that was day 2 of the expedition. We had to hike to Laguna Magdalena. That's the start of the river. And there's this refugio, this like little camp there.
Yeah.
And it's a woman that lives there full time. And for people that are traveling through there, which is not very common, you can stay at this place, have a warm fire, and she'll cook for you. So the first night, we stayed with her, and she had these rodents in a little cage, in a little room with no lights, and a little fire she built for them. It was quite cute. And I remember admiring how cute the setup was, and then realizing, oh, this woman doesn't have pets for pets there. And that's when I pulled out the camera and recorded myself asking her, is this, what is this for? She's like, oh, this is dinner. This is what we're going to have for dinner. And sure enough, she prepared it, and it was delicious. It was fantastic. It was like baby pig.
Amazing.
It was quite nice. And yeah, from there we kept hiking and in the rain to get to the Laguna, and had to make the first decision for the trip, which was this section is not paddleable. And I decided that no matter what, I will do this trip human powered. And even if I can't be on the water the entire time, I will find a way to physically get from point A to point B. So the first week was a combination of hiking, running, And I actually borrowed a bike from a local and did about a 60-kilometer bike ride to get me to where the river was once again paddleable. So it was 6 or 7 days into the trip. I think 6 days into the trip before I actually was on the river. And I did that first section with two other kayakers who had camera gear and 20 years experience kayaking. So I had that safety measure, which later, after they left, I had this confidence that I probably shouldn't have had, because I was comfortable with the water, but it was because they were with me. And then the day they left was when some trouble started happening. And the kayak I had originally used, I switched for a sea kayak, which was significantly longer and thinner. And because of that, the balance was not the same.
Yeah.
So I can get right into one of the more terrifying parts of the trip, which was maybe 3 hours after the camera crew left, moving along with the river, without even paddling at this stage of the river and with how much water flow was going there. I'm moving 18, 20 kilometers per hour.
Without paddling?
Without paddling. So
wow.
it is trucking. But because of that, logs are trucking with you. The river is alive.
Yeah.
And I get to, what's the town? It's spelled like Jaguar, but it's actually pronounced like Aguar. And I get to this town. I pull out my phone to check for where I'm going to be staying that night, which is a friend of a friend of a friend's place. And it's just this farm in the middle of, on the Magdalena, but in the middle of nowhere. And it's about 30 kilometers more. And as soon as I check it, I hit this whirlpool. They're called remolinos. And
Wow.
I was warned that this is going to be the biggest obstacle on this river is these whirlpools they pop out of nowhere. So if you're not 100% focused all of the time, a whirlpool will all of a sudden be created and the kayak just sinks into it. So that's what happened. I pull out my phone, and then the second I see it forming in the water, the kayak goes and I flip. And all of my training for rotating under the water, there's 3 things you can do when the kayak flips. 1, you roll, which I had trained many months for. 2, you abort. Or 3, you drown. You stay underwater and you die, right? So you have 3 options. So ideally you roll because then all your stuff stays dry. But in that moment, I couldn't even think. And I pulled the chute and I said, I need to get out of here. And now I am floating alongside the kayak full of water. My dry bags are going all different directions. First thing I do is I put my phone in my life jacket. It's soaking wet, but I'm like, okay. And I just have to figure out what to do, right? And I'm moving 18 kilometers per hour and my training ground, there was a lot of beaches you could just swim to. You empty out the kayak with water, empty the water out of the kayak. You get yourself organized. You have time to think. But I'm in this section of water where there's a town and the water is like a gray water because of all the septic from different spots. So it's really toxic. And I'm just losing. I mean, even telling this story now is getting me a little worked up. I'm panicking. I don't want to lose my stuff. Oh yeah, but I don't want to die. Oh yeah, but the kayak is going this direction, so I need to move it. So I had a rope on the kayak and I'm swimming it so that the next turn coming up, I'm not going to run into the trees.
Oh my God.
And I do this for, 25 minutes. I go under a bridge and I will never forget all these cars parked on the bridge and people standing out of their car just seeing this kayak go by because there was no boats on this section of the river.
No.
And 25 minutes pass and I finally find this spot that I can pull off and I have the kayak here and I empty it out and all my dry food that I had packed for weeks, not all of it, but most of it had gotten water damage. And I'm just pulling it out and the sun is going to go down in about an hour. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can set up my hammock here. and I see needles on the ground everywhere, and I'm like, this is like a habitation. This is a homeless person spot, and like I don't want to be stuck here for the night. So I have to make this decision to keep paddling, and I just put all my wet stuff back in the kayak, and I say I've got about 45 minutes of sunlight left. This spot is 30 kilometers away. Más o menos, like maybe I can get there. I'll be kayaking in the dark, but it's clear sky right now. There's a full moon tonight. I'm gonna be okay. So I get back on the kayak, not even like fully realizing how risky this next thing I'm about to do is, but realizing I don't want to stay here. I'm back on the kayak, I'm paddling, and clouds are starting to come in. And I'm like, okay, I need to paddle harder. The whole sky becomes dark. And the sun is down sooner than my phone told me it would be down. So it's just pitch black now, and I can't see anything. I just hear rapids in sections, and I hear the whirlpools getting created, and I'm just using every part of me to just use my ears to guide me. And it's a lot of praying going on, a lot of like self-talk. Like, you can do this, you're going to be okay. I'm looking down at my phone, which is telling me, okay, I'm getting 1 kilometer closer, 1 kilometer closer, 1 kilometer closer. And then finally, in the dark, I go through some rapids that scare the shit out of me, but like I'm able to not tip. And finally in the dark, it says, turn right down this little arm of the river. So it doesn't look like anything's there. It's dark, so I can't really see, but I'm like, okay, I just need to trust my phone right now. I just need to trust my phone. So I get off of the main leg of the river, and now I'm on an even faster leg of the river, and there's just tree branches covering this thing. Like, Google Maps only showed me so much.
Yeah.
And immediately I get hit by a branch, lose the paddle, and luckily I stay on the kayak. But the paddle is now floating in the abyss, and I know the house that I'm supposed to be staying at is pretty close, and I just start shouting like, estoy aquí, el gringo es aquí. And I'm just saying anything I can think of in Spanish just to like get some attention. And I'm fucking desperate at this point, man. Like I really needed help. I needed help. And this goes on for a few minutes, and I eventually find these like sawgrass area, and I don't care if there's snakes, I don't care if there's crocodiles, like it's better than this river. And I just pull into the middle of it, and I hear some voices, and I see some flashlights, because they were expecting me at some point. They were expecting me during the day. And 20 minutes goes by, and they start wading into the water, and it's just these two guys, two farmers, chest deep in water, and they grab the kayak and they pull me in, and I'm so like humiliated with myself. I'm like, this is so stupid. Like I put myself in this position. I have no excuse for this behavior. And they're really kind, but and they offered to come up to the house, and I just want to like stay in a hammock down here. I don't want them to see my face out of the dark. Did you
get the paddle?
And the paddle had rolled up. I found it the next day.
Oh, nice.
I found it the next day. They really are insisting I come up. So I end up going up to their house. So this is a 36 hours of just chaos, because once I get to their house, some more things happen. I show up, and these guys are like pretty rugged. These guys live on the farm. They're the place is just like pretty filthy, but they're kind, but it's clearly like tough farmer dudes. And they're just like staring at me like I'm an alien to them, and I'm telling them the story, telling them this and that, and they're like, you're gonna die out there. Like, this next part of the river gets even harder. Like, and they're saying these kind of things to me. And people have said these types of things to me before the trip, but this is like the first interaction I'm having with someone on the river and giving me this kind of fear. And it's a lot more. It's hitting home a lot more, especially after the day's events. And they're like, okay, we can eat dinner though. And they pull out a couple armadillos that they had caught that day. And it was just the shell of the armadillo. And pull out a plate, and they're like, "Have you ever had armadillo before?" And yeah, we end up eating armadillo, and it was like,
What's that taste like?
The way they prepared it, it tasted like chicharrón. Like they just fried it. It was super fatty. It was delicious. It was actually quite good. And I decided to take one of 2 rest days during that 30-day period with them.
Did you set that? Did you have like an idea of how long it would take or should take to finish?
Yeah, I had 3 weeks in mind. It ended up taking 29 days. But based on the rain and based on some aspects, that was part of also the reason why I ended up not taking any more rest days.
Yeah.
Was because of that. So, I was really trying to make the story a little bit shorter, but there's a lot of interesting facts. So the next day they're like, "Oh, if you're taking a rest day, you should work at the farm with us."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Yeah, fantastic." They're like, "We start at 5 a.m." And I'm like, "All right, I'll be up." So at 5 a.m. we go out to the cattle field and we bring in all the cows and we milk them for the next 2 hours. So I learned how to milk a cow that day, and it was like, oh, this is actually a really cool chapter of this. But things start to kind of turn a little weird when they see my camera equipment and they start asking me questions like, "Oh, how much is your kayak worth?" And I'm like downplaying a lot of the prices of things, but I can tell like the energy has changed to I am an adventurer, maybe a little crazy, maybe suicidal, to I'm someone with money and he might die anyway on this river, and he clearly doesn't have maybe connections to the outside world from this particular spot. And all of a sudden that fear just like consumed me. Like these people are maybe not as friends. And that night they came back and they all had rifles, which is always uncomfortable in a place where guns are not common. Like in the States, in Mexico, I see guns all the time, and I saw guns all the time. But here it was like, oh, these guys have guns. And yeah, long story short, despite them being like super kind, I ended up having to do like an abort mission in the middle of the night to leave. So I went back on the river in the night, and like 4 a.m. So like in the early morning, to get out of there. So it was kind of a weird.
Were they trying to? Were they asking anything? Or?
No. Well, they were like, we can wake up with you and we can get you off in the morning. And I don't know if I made the right decision with that, but my instincts were telling me like, after everything that's happened and just like their talks about death on the river, it just felt like maybe a weird opportunity. And I didn't want to take that risk. So I made that decision and left the next morning super early and got back on the river.
Now, was it pre-negotiated that you were going to stop there and stay there with these guys, or were they just random people that?
Yeah, so the friend of mine who was a friend from kind of a friend of a friend in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Colombia, and he had some connections in Colombia from family connections. So the land was his family's land,
Mm-hmm.
and they had now just taken it over for cattle farming. But no one was blood related to these guys, and because the connections were so loose, and even the connection with this friend was so loose, I didn't really feel like I had enough security. And at that point, even finding me in this town would have been difficult. It was on the main river, but as you know, in Colombia, there's not many main roads.
Yeah.
So it was just that fear took over, and I had to make that decision, which was a series of decisions that all felt like survival. Like I need to survive right now, and in a weird way, I got comfort back being on the river, which was a nice transition from the day before and from the rapid section where it was like land is safe, river is dangerous. And then all of a sudden, day 10, that kind of switched where it was like, okay, maybe the people on land are not safe. And it switched quite a few times, but that was a turning point for me where I was like, okay, I can control myself on the river, and I need to not pull out my phone ever again. And I need to just treat this like I'm riding a motorcycle, where every corner is going to be, or an obstacle might come, which is these whirlpools. And yeah, I had a few more capsizes in that trip, but I was able to do the roll. I had a little more confidence, and it was more cruisy for the next 15 days.
Now, I want to ask about the whirlpool. So when you actually have a whirlpool, is it like, do you just kind of like go through it or beside it? What happens? Do you just get stuck in the middle and keep spinning? Can it pull you down?
Yes, correct. It can pull you down. You see, luckily there's a lot of evidence that there's like the bigger whirlpools. You'll see a lot of trunks and logs and full on like banana trees that are like caught in this endless cycle. But sometimes they just appear out of nowhere. And in those moments, you can get in a lot of trouble. So generally speaking, if you stay in the middle of the river, you're avoiding the whirlpools. But sometimes the river gets super narrow and you can't really avoid it. So yeah, you want to go like head on and just prepare for the kayak to want to go with the direction of the whirlpool. So that was one of the things I learned in training, is always having at least one paddle in the water during those sections so that you can manipulate the kayak to stay the direction you want to stay at. And and then there were some more rapids afterwards, and being in like this long kayak, the rapids were like a different ball game completely too. So you had to do something which is counterintuitive, which is going straight at it. So it was kind of it's like the Stoic philosophy, like the obstacle is the way. So like you got to just go head on when you see those rapids ahead. And that was just the daily routine for 29 days. Not all 29 days, but a good 20 days of the trip. That was it. Starting at 4:30 in the morning, breaking down the tent, breaking down the hammock, trying to get a good hour in before the sun came, which later in the trip became one of my worst enemies, was just the power of the sun and the reflection on the water.
Oh, okay.
And you're on the Magdalena, you're going through the hottest parts of Colombia. So towards the northern part of Colombia, which also happens to be the red zone, coincidentally, you're dealing with a lot of towns that you just do not visit, even if you're a Colombian. They say don't go here. And you're also dealing with 110 Fahrenheit days. So it's 36, 38 Fahrenheit or Celsius. And it's brutal. It's brutal. It doesn't matter how much water you drink. You just feel dehydrated. My hands were swollen. I had to wear gloves, not to protect me from blisters, but to protect me from the sun, because you just get burnt. You get toasted. So I was covered up the whole time with glasses, a mask, a big sombrero. After I lost my hat, I ended up getting this sombrero gifted to me. And when I would make stops in these like small villages, it was just incredibly bizarre for them to see not only this kind of like costume I'm wearing, but also this kayak, which most of them didn't even have the word kayak in their vocabulary. So you go from this extreme solitude where it's just you and your thoughts and the river and nature, to these towns where you are essentially a celebrity there. And some of the towns only had 500 people. So I'd roll up to the town and be like 5 or 6 or 10 fishermen there. And then the second I'm unloading the kayak to try to find some water to refill my water purifier got lost that first day as well. So I had to make these stops pretty frequently. the whole town would then show up, and it would be the same kind of questions like, how do you eat? Where do you store your food? Where do you put your legs in this thing? Because my legs are not shown in the kayak like a canoe, which they all know about canoes and lanchas, motorboats. But I would go into these towns, and even though I had these rules like I should not eat fish at this part of the river because it's so toxic, they would gift me fish and want me to, enjoy it with them. So I'd break my own rules and say, okay. And one time in particular comes to mind where this, excuse you, bless you. One time in particular comes to mind where they, in one of the towns, they brought me a bowl of fish and put a plastic chair on the street for me to eat the fish. And then they all just lined up to watch me eat the fish. And it was maybe 90 people. And I'm just sitting there, and they're all just like staring at my eyes. And I'm just like trying to take turns looking at all of them. And extremely awkward meal. I can't think of a bad date. I can't think of anything that matches the awkwardness of this interaction where I'm eating this fish that likely in my mind at the moment is going to get me extremely sick.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be rude and not eat the head and eat every part of it because this is it's a gift, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to have small talk with everyone. Usually the kids were the easiest to have small talk with. So I'm trying to have small talk with the kids. Hablas inglés, trying to play around with that. And then, finishing, it was always this photo, maybe 30 minutes to an hour of taking photos.
Yeah.
And it was just like one at a time. Okay. And like always against like a brick wall. And we would do photos. And then it was like back on the river, just silence again. So it was really bizarre.
Yeah.
Between those two. That was the life for
So how many villages do you think, or towns do you think you stopped by on the trip?
Maybe like 40.
Wow.
40. So one, usually midday, I would try to get out of the heat and just relax and take a nap because there weren't really spots to do that, like beaches. I would have to stop in these towns because they were developed enough where I could park the kayak. And in that case, I would not get my rest that I was looking for, where I didn't have to be like fully focused. I'd have to now focus on these people. And then a lot of nights I chose to go that route as well, just staying in a town instead of camping because of the security risks and like not staying on a random person's farm and then finding out it's a private property or they're growing something. I saw like a lot of like cannabis grows along the river. I saw a lot of different, I don't think I would have been able to point out what the coca plant looked like, but I was worried that I was going to be staying at the wrong place.
Yeah.
And also just getting beta on what towns to avoid. So a lot of the times I would ask those questions and they would say, okay, just stay on the right side of the river for the next 200 kilometers. You don't want to go on the left side of the river for this reason, that reason, or the other. So I would have that in the back of my mind. And that was how I was getting my information. There was only so much planning I could do before the trip.
Yeah.
So it was really just improvising every single day to what's dangerous, what's not. And just
so were you able to like find like a place to sleep, like a hotel, what was
it? Maybe every 3 days I would find a little hotel for 40 lucas, so like $10. And I had just one outfit the whole time. So when I get to the hotel, I wash it in the sink, dry it out, put it on, hang it, and hopefully it was dry enough the next day. But yeah, I just didn't want to be carrying around dirty laundry for that whole month. So I just had the one uniform for the river. And then I had like kind of my sleeping clean clothes at night. But I would say every 3 days I gave myself the gift of a bed. Yeah.
And the 2 days, where were you then? Where were you sleeping for the 2 days that you were not in a hotel?
Set up the hammock.
You did the hammock.
Yeah. Okay. And oftentimes it would be in a town as well. So there'd be like a little community park and I would just put the kayak under the hammock. I would pull out my stove and cook, and sometimes some people in the town would come and hang out with me a little bit, and we would chat and shoot the shit. And then I'd sleep in the hammock until like I said, 4 a.m. was my wake up time every day. So I'd do roughly 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. was my 12-hour schedule. Some days I could do 112 kilometers. Some days it was just like 40, 50 kilometers.
How many kilometers is the total thing?
Well, according to Google Maps, it's like 1,600 kilometers. But in reality, with the way that I was navigating the river, which wasn't linear, I think it was probably more like 2,000 kilometers of actual paddling. And I actually never took the time to add up all the Strava accounts, but I would imagine around 2,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did elevation impact anything? Did you feel elevation when you were going through this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first week, the elevation changed from around, we'll do it in feet, is around 10,000 feet is where the start is, to around 500 feet. So from the 500 foot mark to the ocean level was 70% of the river.
Right.
So like there were sections of the river, it was like you're on a lake. It's just glassy, clear. And then all of a sudden a remolina or a whirlpool happens. And you would look and you're like, I don't see anything dropping. So if you break down the math, every kilometer, you're maybe lowering a foot.
Yeah.
So that was frustrating. It was just kind of like this. I had been training on rivers where it was like constantly stimulation of going down, down, down. But this was quite the opposite, and a bit of a torture having that. Just waiting for the next turn. So you're like, okay, I estimate this to be about 45 minutes. And then you go around the bend and it was just like an identical stretch, but you couldn't sleep on it. It wasn't like you couldn't. And the river went from going 18 kilometers without paddling to some sections, if you're not paddling, you're barely moving. So that was also like kind of a mental thing where it's like, fuck. But, I keep the mentality with all these trips of, just stick with it, just pace yourself, and like you'll eventually get there. And I did, man. I did. 28th day, it was the 28th day I actually got to Barranquilla, which was my finish line. And I was so excited. I'm like, 4 weeks, I did it. I had my camera guy, a good friend of mine as well. He met me there, he flew there, and he wanted to take all these shots. So the day was kind of like creeping away. Yeah. And finally, winds have now picked up and the water's really choppy. And I get to Bocas de Ceniza, which is the long 4-kilometer pier that gets you to the ocean.
Wait, where were the hippos supposed to be? We can't.
Yeah. Okay, we can backtrack to the hippos. That section was outside of a town called Puerto Triunfo.
Yeah.
And I found out that they're really not as active as I anticipated. And mostly they're active in the night.
Ah, okay.
So I had the luxury of not dealing with them, but I spent a good 2 hours like circling the island that they live at, and I had this lancha, this motorboat with me the whole time. So we were like flying the drone, trying to see if we could find them on one of the beaches. And at some point, it was like, all right, mission's off. Let's just keep moving. And I said goodbye to my friend, and then kept going. But it was an animal I wasn't expecting, and one that I luckily didn't have to interact with was sharks. And that when the river meets the ocean, I'm kayaking along this pier, and my friend is on a motorcycle filming me going along this rugged pier to like capture me paddling to this final stretch. And fishermen are yelling like, stop, what are you doing? Tiburones. Like sharks are here. Like there's not even like motorboats in this section. It's just massive ships that have crossed the ocean from China, from Africa, so I'm paddling along, and I'm just so high off of almost being done and getting out of this kayak. And then I see the ocean, and it's like a kilometer ahead, and it's just growing. Every paddle I get closer, and I'm like, oh man, the ocean's not going the same way as this river is. So it's going this direction, and the ocean is going this direction. And that meeting point is creating these massive waves. And I'm like, holy fuck. And I look over to my friend who's filming, and he's also a 20-year experienced kayaker. And he's like, dude, get out of the water. Get out of the water. We're not going to finish this today. So I'm paddling. I'm getting closer. The waves are starting to pick me up. And even getting onto the pier is like a super extreme mission, because it's not a traditional pier made of wood. It's just these big rocks. So I made that decision. I said, okay, I'm going to pull off and we'll analyze the situation. So I get to the pier, and as soon as I touch the rock, the water takes me up 2 meters and then down 2 meters. God. And I have to like make this like dash right when I'm low, pull off, jump out, grab the kayak rope, and let the kayak kind of free flow for a second. And got out of the water and realized like the sun is starting to go down. I'm like, I have to finish this tomorrow. So I was 100 meters from the finish line, and we decided to hide the kayak on this pier overnight and then show up the next day when the weather was a little more tame and there weren't people shouting tiburones, tiburones.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, that was till the very end, it was cinematic. It was like, wow, this month has been quite the month. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have words to describe it.
What would you rank it difficulty-wise compared to the other stuff that you've done? Where would you place this?
Man, I mean, some of these mountains, it's hard to top elevation mountaineering, like in difficulty. So I can't say it was more difficult than that, but the length and the mental kind of anguish that happens with that much of the same kind of thing, same problems, same energy, just to stay focused. I would say it was the hardest month of my life. And similar to the bike tour, finishing biking from Alaska down to Ushuaia, I have yet to really have a desire to bike again. I am kind of in a similar boat with kayaking. Like, I've thought about doing a little weekend trip for a little paddle, but I really scratched that itch so hard that I still have some wounds that need to kind of maybe heal.
Yeah, you're like, nah, I'm good.
So I'm transitioning to trying to be more domesticated, which is hard for me. Since the trip, it's been 2 months, and I'm still having the urge to like pee outdoors and do random things like that. But
I think we all have that urge secretly.
Yeah. You can't take that out of your system. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of like more traditional projects now, and I just started last week doing co-working, which was a concept I had never really explored, and like actually being with other men and women and working on a computer and having a timer for 50 minutes and doing these different things. But the wild part of me is just like, is this you, dude? Or what are you doing? But I'm having fun. I'm enjoying the air conditioning. I'm enjoying the roof over our head right now, and doing a lot more, what's the word? Just accounting for this life that I've had, instead of just like going full in all the time, but actually spending the time to write about it and connect with these stories. And I think it's going to allow me in the future to have a little bit more presence, instead of just like being this action hero every moment, bomb, bomb, bomb.
Yeah.
So that's reflecting. That's the word I was looking for. Just spending a lot of time reflecting and I'm working on a book that I hope to finish in the next few weeks. And it's related to my travels in bicycle and collecting recipes from different people along my travels. Each page of the book is a recipe that I found from a random person, not necessarily a chef or a cook, but just a random person that had a lot of love for a certain dish, and yeah, it's starting this kind of more creative path with doing a cooking program on YouTube, which I want to give a little shout to for whoever's watching. Yeah, since I have an audience here. So yeah, doing this program and then publishing this book are my two priorities, and I think at least the cooking program is going to tie to adventuring. I'm aiming to do kind of this like Bourdain style, parts unknown, where food is the language that brings me to these places and with these people, and just it's something I've done without a camera for a long time, and now I'm with a team of people that are really excited for this and giving me the confidence to go for it. And yeah, that's kind of the next adventure chapter of the life, and the show is going to be called Matt's Way. We've already got 3 episodes out, and in this moment it's in a kitchen, but the idea is to bring it outdoors, to bring it to different countries, to bring it to different tribes, communities.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
You know, there's a question that we added to the podcast since you were there that I wanted to ask you, and I knew you'd be back. And this is one of my favorite questions, and I can't wait to get your answer on it. If you could identify yourself with any character, fiction, nonfiction, cartoon, book, anime, movie, real life, history, whatever, who would you most identify with?
Oh, fuck. I don't know if I have a good answer for that, man. Maybe a mesh between, I'd like to think of myself as like an Indiana Jones meets Evel Knievel.
Okay.
I don't know. Man, it changes so much. I'd like to think I will be that character one day.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd love for someone to answer, that Matt guy you interviewed is the character I can know. But for now, yeah, let's go Indiana Jones.
I like that.
Indiana Jones.
All right. Yeah. Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a great character.
Yeah. He's pretty fucking cool. He's pretty cool. The Harrison Ford one. I don't know about the modern Indiana Jones.
Yeah, of course, Harrison Ford. That's the one we all know and love.
Yes, the OG.
Man, that's amazing. So, okay, so you got the cooking channel now. You got the book coming out. We'll put those things up here with the links for you guys to check out as well. And you're being domesticated.
Yes. I can elaborate on what that means. I am living with a couple guys that do a lot of cool community projects here, and I'm kind of following their style of living, which is doing the co-working thing, and they do a lot of different projects bringing people together. So I will give them credit for inspiring me to do my own projects. I started a chess club, and that's something that happens every Thursday night here in Medellin.
Amazing.
Here, actually right around the corner from here in Manila. So every Thursday night, I'm bringing people together, and we have 50 members now. It started 2 months ago, and we've already got 50 members. And it's a place to learn about chess, play chess, and grow as a human.
Amazing.
And just kind of expand that part of the brain. I think a lot of us, it's difficult to use that part of the brain without games like that. I am doing an improv group as well, so trying to get kind of the creative side of me out, and the little bit more fearless version of me in that sense. I've got a lot of fearless aspects, courageous aspects, but I've had a lot of fear when it comes to doing things like this podcast or the Matt's Way thing. So improv has been a really fun exercise for that. And now I have a small community that we're growing together, and we're going to do that every Wednesday night. And then my roommate Jordan does many different community projects, but one of them is in Comuna 13, helping kids out. And that's something that I'm bandwagoning on. And it's really filling my cup. It's been a real pleasure to work with these kids and and kind of be the shoulders for them to dream bigger. And I had a lot of those people in my life, and it's easy to not credit those people when you look at yourself in the mirror and where you are at. But after one day of volunteering there, I was thinking a lot about that. I'm like, man, these kids don't have what I had, and now I have the opportunity to maybe be that person. And there's a lot of adults that are also feeling that drive, and that's been incredibly rewarding and a great reason to stay in one place, a great reason to work at one thing every week, do the same thing, and have that more domesticated existence, at least for now. That's the chapter, the purpose I'm feeling a calling for.
Well, I'm super excited for that, because I don't have to think whether you're gonna live or not. That's kind of been our relationship since we met. Like, Matt didn't reply. Is he ignoring me, or is he almost dead? It's almost always potentially the other one.
Now we get to see each other more and talk about the exchange project ideas and do the intercambio thing.
Oh, man, so exciting. And I'm very excited to see you as the, not so much the adventurer Matt as I've known you, but also see you as somewhat of the entrepreneur Matt.
Yeah.
Being active, being local, and seeing what kind of impact you do in a community. And it's so exciting to see that, because now you're involved with a great group of guys. I know Jordan Carroll, personally, awesome guy. Shout out Jordan. Mm-hmm. That's the number one guy that if you want to go and figure out what events to go to in Medellin, that's the guy to ask. So that's going to be super, super, I think, helpful for you to kind of just get back into the swing of things, because you pretty much, you finished the trip, on the bike, and you jumped into the Magdalena River thing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Relatively.
And in between, there were quite a few adventures.
And the training and preparation.
Certainly. Yeah, that never really stopped. And even though I tell people I've been in Medellin for 2 years, the reality is I have not really connected with the city until 2 months ago, and really connected with the community and the people that are striving to do more. And it feels more than ever like, wow, this is where my energy should go.
Yeah.
And this is one of the great cities, because I think community is so accessible. Even in my time in the US and all my travels, I've never really been to a city where you can find a niche and find a place and find a home and find friends as quickly as here. So shout out to this city for that, and shout out to people like you who are able to connect, and shout out to Jordan, of course.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you guys make it incredibly easy, and I hope to kind of live by a similar example, and just open up doors that might not interest you guys quite as much, but like things like the chess club, I think, is a really cool way to get people of all walks to be able to connect.
Oh yeah, I got to introduce you to my buddy Max. I don't know if you met him, Max Kufari.
Is he part of the Entrepreneur House by chance?
I'm not sure, but he is like a 2,000 plus.
Whoa, ELO rating.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, damn.
Like you gotta play with this guy. It's almost like playing an AI. You cannot win. It's hilarious.
Good. I would love that. I need some humbling in the chess club, because I was getting humbled every week when I played chess in El Centro with the señores down there. They don't mess around. But now that I'm in this club, I feel like I've become a little bit of an alpha, and I don't necessarily want that, especially with chess. You want to get get put in your place at the end of the day.
Yeah, this guy can do it. And by the way, I'm gonna see if I have it. It's so fun. He has a very specific philosophy on chess. And because he's played for so long and he enjoys it, he actually created his own card game that you play along with chess. And he said, he's like, one of the funnest things that I've had when I was learning chess was the unpredictability of it.
Yeah.
And he finds, which I agree with 100%, that once you get to a certain level, it's just about like, how much do you know and can you study and what can you see that's happening? And it's not so much of like in the moment skill. It's more like, well, I know what move to do based on I'm doing this strategy with variations, but I'm going to get there in the end. And this adds a pinch of randomness to the game, where one card might be like skip your turn, one card might be like your queen only moves as a pawn, one part might be like your pawn moves as a queen, whatever it is.
Wow.
So adds this like completely random aspect to a game that we all know how to play and we all love to play, but it creates an even playing field where now you can play against somebody that's maybe, 1700 ELO and you're maybe sitting at 1200.
Yeah.
In reality, like there's really no chance you'll ever beat him.
Yeah.
If you're both trying your hardest, it's almost like 10 out of 10 times you will lose that game every single time.
That's fantastic.
Whereas this adds that fun, aspect where somebody that's just, they know how to play the game, but maybe they're just getting better cards. So now you're like, shit, what do I do? So it kind of evens the playing field a little bit because
me encanta.
It's so awesome. Yeah.
Is this a game that he's actually like put out there? Or
yeah, it's on Amazon. You can buy it. Like he created this. It's doing really well. Yeah, It's been selling for I think the last 5 years.
Wow.
And I have a copy here. I'll give you it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
Yeah, we will like maybe eliminate a piece or do different times for certain players playing against each other. But I think that's a really fun extra piece.
Oh yeah,
to the puzzle, extra deck to the puzzle.
Yeah. And that's what really kind of made me fall in love with chess, and then also made me sort of fall out of love with chess because when I saw like the time dedication that it took, I'm like, hey, I know how to beat most people. But now I'm at a point, and even like when you play just like chess online, whatever, I'm like, I see what you're doing, but I don't exactly remember what the next move is because I don't play it enough or don't have time to study it.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting creamed. And like, I know I can beat you if I do the same thing. So now it turns into this like memory game rather than like thinking and strategy. And I'm like, okay, I love the fact that you created this because now it evens the playing field. Yeah. No one knows what's gonna happen, so you got to throw strategy out the window, and you got to think like in the moment, like couple moves ahead, like what's gonna happen.
No, it's great. I mean, that's something that you kind of lose once you get to a certain level of chess is like using your brain to calculate a certain piece. Just like you said, it's a great addition. I really love that.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, and I'll connect you to him. He's a cool guy.
All right,
he's a cool guy.
Cool, man. Thank you. And join the club, man. You should come out. Like we really have every range of player there, and the time aspect I find makes it a different game as well. So playing a 3-minute speed match versus playing a 15 minutes each, it's like, okay, it's a little bit more chance, but it stimulates the brain in a different way.
I love it, man. I'm definitely gonna come out and check you guys out.
Cool.
That's every Thursday, right?
Every Thursday, 7:30. I don't know what camera to look at. 7:30. Every Thursday, 7:30 at the Purple Monkey Bar. Come out, check us out. Follow it on Instagram. You can be the number 45th person on Instagram following it. It's super fun. And my Spanish teacher is the bartender, and he's the best DJ in town. He's fantastic. So we got good music. It's a social event too. It's not just a bunch of nerds nerding out. It's a 3-hour thing. So oftentimes after X amount of minutes, you get burnt out and you just want to socialize and
hang out.
That's been one of the best parts of it for me. And of the 50 members, we have people that are 19, 20, and we have a guy who hadn't played in 50 years. He's 75, and he comes every single week now. We've got women, man. It's just like a really cool mix. People from all different countries, and just like food, it's a language that that I think can connect even better than language.
Yeah.
So
I love it, man. I'm really happy for you, and I'm glad
Thanks,
that
brother.
you're doing this. 'Cause
yeah,
this is gonna be a blast.
Yeah,
and I
man.
see your face light up every time we talk. You're like,
yeah, it's really fun to share that. It's really fun.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I forgot to ask you. So, what happens with the Guinness Book of Records?
So how Guinness works is they take the stories they find most interesting. Maybe it's the longest toenail, it just broke a record or something, and they will make a special page for that person. And then all the other ones, which there's quite a few people that apply and get accepted, they might be just in the back of the book with their name and the date and the record, what the record is. So I don't know if I will be chosen for that, given that it's not a traditional record where it's like I beat someone else's. It's a world first.
Yeah.
So nobody has documented attempting to do it. So I'm not really sure what comes with that. Maybe on podcast number 3, I will have some details and a whole nother project to share with you.
Yes.
But for podcast number 2, that's all I can tell you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, more than fair. We're here rooting and hoping that comes too.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be like, I know that guy. I know that guy.
He is the character in the book I want to be.
Yeah. There you go. Yes, that's how we get there.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Bro, super happy for you, man. You finished the Magdalena River.
Yeah.
You got the cooking show going. The book is almost complete. A domesticated new lifestyle with Wednesday events, Thursday,
and
Comuna 13.
Comuna 13 is weekends whenever I can get up there. We can put that in the show notes as well, but it's available 7 days a week and once a month if you want to go with the Jordan crew, which is super fun because there's a lot of different people with different skills. And that's essentially what it is. You going there with whatever skill set you have. My other roommate, also incredible man, Alex, he does a Shark Tank with the kids.
Yeah.
So kids get to present their business ideas, their fantasies, and Alex asks the tough question, why should I invest in this? And this should be different. And then they make like a vote, and it's just expanding these kids' minds. And I'm thinking one of the things I'll eventually segue there is doing the chess thing with them as well. There seems to be some interest in that. But from the days that I've gone, it's just been more just playing and giving kind of that uncle, I don't want to say fatherly attention, but that cool uncle attention, and I don't know who's getting more out of the experience, them or me, but it's pretty cool.
Well, you're giving the most valuable thing you have, which is time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you are with me right now. So thank you, brother.
Oh, man. I appreciate you every single time. My man.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the third podcast.
Third podcast.
But I am a little bit worried because, this dude does some crazy things. So I'm hoping, a little less stressful. I'm liking this current Matt.
Yeah.
This is like, let's do some good things for kids. Let's hang out. Let's make some spaghetti. Let's make a cooking show. I'm like, yes. All right, let's do like a chapter of this before we get all crazy again.
Yeah. Episode 1 of Matt's Way is actually on spaghetti. Yeah, we do spaghetti made from scratch. And fun fact about Nemo, he likes to eat the raw stuff. You like to eat the...
Yeah, you had to just tell everybody, didn't you? You just had to put it out there, man.
I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was a charming story.
Every time my grandma used to make that, I would just go by and then she's like, all right, you walk by 30 times, you're gonna get a stomachache or constipated or something. Like, this is not good for you. Stop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved it raw. So
that's a good way to end it. Nemo likes it raw.
I like it raw. All right, my man. This is Nemo Likes It Raw and Matt's Way. And until next time, guys.
Ciao. Until next time.
Peace out.
Peace.
Matt, respect. You finished the river, but more importantly, you came back changed. From extreme survival mode to building community, launching projects, mentoring kids. That's real growth. And not just conquering nature, but evolving after it. If you got value from this, subscribe, share it, and send it to someone that needs a reminder that hard things reshape you. See you on the next one.